Hi, everybody, and welcome back for another chapter of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj's I Am That. And today we will be looking at chapter 98, which is called Freedom from Self-Identification. Sorry, I love these titles sometimes. They just say it, right? They're so simple and straight to the point. So freedom from self-identification. I am this, I am that. No, I am. And even prior to I am, no self, no identification with any form. Nisargadatta says that's the whole issue, is that we are formless consciousness. And as this body grows older, the formless consciousness identifies with form, what is perceivable and physical, and also what is conceivable and mental. And then we become mental because of our identifications. Okay, so Maharaj, can you sit on the floor? Do you need a pillow? Have you any questions to ask? You see, he was kind, he was thoughtful, he was compassionate. Not that you need to ask, you can as well be quiet. To be, just be, is important. You need not ask anything, nor do anything. Such apparently lazy way of spending time is highly regarded in India. Being, not doing. It means that for the time being, you are free from the obsession with what next. When you are not in a hurry and the mind is free from anxieties, it becomes quiet. And in the silence, something may be heard, which is ordinarily too fine and subtle for perception. The mind must be open and quiet to see. What we are trying to do here is to bring our minds into the right state for understanding what is real. Beautiful paragraph. I love that paragraph for some reason. So we have being and we have doing. And it tends to be in the West that we are very attached to doing, maybe even addicted to doing. I want to do this, I want to do that. We can't sit still. And of course, now with iPhones and smartphones, that doing perhaps is even worse. You know, if we're bored, we're just sitting there, we get bored. So we immediately jump on our phones, we start checking Facebook and YouTube and all kinds of different things for status updates. So, and if you just sit around, people say, what are you doing? You're just sitting around. You're not doing anything. Do something, do something, do something. Now, I love life. I love doing. So we're not anti-doing. But if you don't ever allow yourself the space just to be, then, well, for one thing, it can really make the mind very tired because the mind is always seeking the next moment. And it is in being. This is why more and more people now are coming to meditation and yoga and Tai Chi, because we're starting to suffer because of all this doing. And healing can happen when there is beingness, when there is rest, not collapse. I mean, that can be good as well, just collapsing and falling apart in a sense. But there's a dynamic balance between collapsing and being tense, let's say, this dynamic balance of being. So you are, you are aware, you are alive, you are, but you're not necessarily doing anything. You're sitting. Just watching the breath. Just noticing the space in the room. I am. And when you just allow yourself to be, which, by the way, Nisargadatta says this is the goal of spirituality, is just to be. Not be this, not be that, just be. So let's do it. In breath, out breath. I am here now. Simple. And as the title says, don't identify with anything. Just experiment with that. Don't identify with the body. You see the body, but let's just not identify with it. This is not me. I'm not the body. We see the mind, we see thought, we see feelings, but I'm not going to identify with these thoughts or feelings. 5 senses, all the sensations coming in, we experience them, we are aware of them, but I'm not going to identify with them because I realize I am the awareness which is aware of everything perceivable and conceivable. And when everything perceivable and conceivable disappears, guess what? I, as awareness, beingness, remain, just like the white wall or the white screen. When the movie is done, credits rolling. When the movie finishes and the images stop and the images disappear, the white wall remains. The light of awareness, the empty screen of consciousness. So in India, they're very much for sitting, just sitting. Don't even try to meditate. I'm going to meditate. No, just sit or just stand. Just be. Just be what you cannot not be. You see, when you even just get a sense of this beingness, you realize it's not about becoming something. Becoming's okay as well. If you want to try to become something, go for it. But for this, what we're interested in, understanding what is real. If you want to understand what is real, then you have to be here now to look at what is real, to perceive what is real, to investigate what is real. And to question, of course, what is even doing the questioning? Who am I that wants to know what is real? Right? I want to know what is real. Well, who am I? Let's start there. Do I know who I am? And then the investigation, the discovery begins. Am I this body? Am I this mind? Can I find a mind? Am I this thought? Am I these feelings? Am I these sensations? Am I these memories of the past? Am I these imaginations of the future? Who am I? What am I? Can I be perceived as an object, as a form, as a thing? How do we learn to cut out worries? Well, wouldn't that be nice if we could just take scissors and take our fears and just cut them out? Okay, I don't like you. You're bothersome. I don't want fear. So there, I cut them out of my life, which is what some people try to do. They try to cut people out of their lives and situations out of their lives. And sometimes that's exactly what needs to be done. Sometimes, the barking dog just needs to be put outside because it's very distracting. But let's listen to what Nisargadatta says. So Nisargadatta says, you need not worry about your worries. Because if we are worried about our worries, we're just expanding that fear, right? I have a fear. I have a worry. What am I going to do with it? How do I get rid of it? How can I cut it out? So then you start struggling with fear, wrestling with fear. And what happens there? More struggle, more suffering. And it can become very bad. How can I get rid of these thoughts? But maybe they won't go. So how about not caring about the thoughts? As Nisargadatta says, don't worry about your fears. Don't worry about your desires, because guess what? Ultimately, they're not yours. They are simply desire and fear, universal desires and fears, human desires and fears. It's okay. It's just what is appearing in this moment. And everything ultimately is okay in this moment because everything is oneness. So desires and fears, no problem unless you say there's a problem. As Sailor Bob Adamson says, nothing is wrong with this moment unless we start thinking about this moment, start judging this moment. So you have the power to say, you know what? Yeah, there's this fear here, but I'm not going to pay attention to it. And what happens when you deprive anything of attention? It eventually dissolves, disappears, goes away. And even if it doesn't go away, if you don't give it your attention, then it's not a problem. It's just something that's there. A fear. What does this fear want? What is this fear? Maybe it's trying to tell me something. Look out, there's a car coming. Okay. Or maybe you're eating too much high fat and your cholesterol is going to rise. So maybe this fear actually, I remember Adi Ashanti told me this one time. I was at one of his satsangs, and he said, basically, what's on the other side of fear? And I said, it's love. He said, right. So sometimes fear, the other side of fear is love, that fear is trying to protect you. Who are you? So it's trying to protect the body, or it's trying to protect this person. And that's actually wonderful. All of these emotions at some level we could say have their divine purpose. It's when they get out of control or imbalanced or where the suffering and the problems start to arise. But in and of themselves, emotions are there for a reason. They are a part of the human being process. So again, this fear might actually have something wise to tell you. This fear might actually have something loving to tell you. Or it could be an irrational fear. And these are the things, as Byron Katie says, we believe stressful thoughts, and that's what causes us to suffer. So we need to look at these fears and we need to question them and, and find out, are they rational or irrational? Is there any message from the fear? Is there love? Is there any wisdom in that fear? Or is it just something like, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid? And of course, we don't need those voices telling us to live in fear, because we don't need to live in fear, right? So you need not worry about your worries, just be. It seems that Nisargadatta says that for a lot of things, right? Just be. Just be. Do not try to be quiet. Do not make being quiet into a task to be performed. Because if you try to be quiet, that means there's a sense of you that is resistant of something else. And there's a little bit of a shut up in there too, like, shut up, don't make a noise, be quiet. As if noise is the problem. But remember, in oneness, there is no problem. Noise is not a problem unless it is a problem. But again, fears, chattering mind, it's not a problem unless you give it that power and say it is a problem. And if you say it's a problem, then it becomes a problem. Isn't that ironic and interesting? And the mind, in a sense, Adi Ashanti says this, the mind loves to create problems and then try to create a solution, right? So the mind isn't quiet, that's a problem. Now I need to try to make the mind quiet. And so here you have this duality again, problem, solution, problem, solution. So don't fight with the mind. Don't fight with life. Just accept it. Just be. Remember, the silence, it's more about tuning in like a radio dial, tuning into the silence, which is always here. So you're not trying to make the mind quiet. The mind may never be quiet, but you can, again, not give the mind so much attention or any attention, and you can just focus on the silence, which is always here. This is a great spiritual practice, just listening to silence. Or the air conditioner, which is humming. But even in the background of the air conditioner, there is silence. And there is stillness. I can notice that nothing is moving. The space isn't going anywhere. So there is always silence and stillness. So no matter where you are, the bank line, the supermarket, the mall, work, wherever you are, you can always notice that there is silence and stillness, and you can notice that which is noticing. Awareness is here. Of course, awareness is here. Aliveness is here. Life is here. There's so much happening in this moment, in the here and now. Somebody has said, right, that if you're bored, you're not paying attention. It's a great quote. If you're bored, you are not paying attention because there's so much happening in this moment, even if we're just sitting. There's so much happening. So don't be restless about being quiet. Don't be miserable about being happy. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. Why aren't I happy? Chasing pleasure, chasing happiness. Just be aware that you are and remain aware. I am. I am aware. I am alive. I am. I am aware. I am alive. Nothing to do. Nowhere to go. No one to be. This is just life. Living. Being. Existing. And it's full. It's empty and it's full. The silence is palpable. It's like sitting at the bottom of the ocean. So don't say, yes, I am, but what next? The mind always wants to jump to the next moment because it can't seem to find what it's looking for in this moment. And if it does find what it's looking for, it becomes obsessive. It wants to hold on to something. And then it's like rope being pulled through your hand, right? And you get rope burn. So that's why people say don't be attached, because this moment will never remain. The now will always be here. The context will always be here. But the changing consciousness, this moment to moment change, is doing just that. It's changing. And if you try to hold on to it, that can also create suffering, rope burn, pain. So better not to hold on to this moment. Just be in this moment. Enjoy the moment. Live the moment. Hey, I'm enjoying this moment. And when it goes, let it go. And if you want to grieve whatever has left, then grieve. Crying, I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but crying can open the heart, of course. Crying, grieving can be quite a wonderful experience. As Nisargadatta says, if you go into pain, if you open to it and allow it, you can find a deeper pleasure than pleasure itself can offer. So there is no next in I am. It is a timeless state. Just like that wall isn't going anywhere. The space isn't going anywhere. The mental pictures appear to be going somewhere, but they're just moving in the now. But you cannot escape the now. You cannot escape being, because you are the now. You are being. So, in a sense, maybe not in a sense, but that is why it's so important to have a good, healthy relationship with now. Now, I know that sounds dualistic, but for most of us, that's what we're experiencing still, is this dualistic experience of relationship with I and other, I and this moment. So how can this moment be, again, less suffering? How can there be less suffering in this moment? Well, acceptance is heaven and resistance is hell. So if you accept this moment, anger, fear, sadness, happiness, love, desire, fear, whatever it is, just allow it, see it, allow it, be with it. If there's an allowance, then there is peace, harmony with what is, no problem. Ah, look at that. I'm angry as hell. Or I'm sad, or I'm afraid. Just be, just be. And in that acceptance, everything melts. In that love, everything dissolves. Can you cultivate just a little bit of love? Don't force the heart to love, just allow love. That allowing is love. That accepting is love. Unconditional love, which is always present. God is love. God is here. God is now. God is here. God is now. God is why and God is how. In reverence we humbly bow to the Lord of love. To the Lord of love. To the Lord of love. If it is a timeless state, it will assert itself anyhow. You are what you are, timelessly. But of what use is it to you unless you know it and act on it? Your begging bowl may be of pure gold, but as long as you do not know it, you are a pauper. You must know your inner worth and trust it and express it in the daily sacrifice of desire and fear. If I know myself, shall I not desire and fear? For some time, the mental habits may linger in spite of the new vision. The habit of longing for the known past and fearing the unknown future. When you know these are of the mind only, past and future are in the mind only, they aren't actually here as a reality, you can go beyond them. As long as you have all sorts of ideas about yourself, you know yourself through the mist of these ideas. This is who I am, this image I have of myself. To know yourself as you are, as you truly are, give up all ideas until there is nothing. Emptiness. Remember the title, Freedom from Self-Identification. Stop identifying with thought. Stop identifying with these images. Stop identifying with the form. Stop identifying with anything. Now, it's a habit of the mind to identify. But if you refuse that process, if you just say, no, I'm not going to identify with this, neti, not this, not that, your chains will loosen, your binds will loosen. Okay. Where was I? You cannot imagine the taste of pure water. You can only discover it by abandoning all flavors. You cannot imagine the taste of pure water. You can only discover it by abandoning all flavorings. So purify yourself again. Purify the mind. Purify the heart. Find that pure being, pure awareness. As long as you are interested in your present way of living, you will not abandon it. Maybe you're happy being a person. Maybe you have a happy life. Great. So if you're happy with it, why would you let go of it? Probably won't happen. Probably won't happen. Discovery cannot come as long as you cling to the familiar. It is only when you realize fully the immense sorrow of your life and revolt against it that a way out can be found. So, yes, there are people. You can see them. They appear to be pretty darn happy, right? Maybe it's cliche to say, but rich, famous, beautiful, powerful, whatever it is, they seem to be really enjoying their incarnation, if you will. So if you went up to somebody like, well, I was going to say, if you go up to somebody like Tom Cruise and tell him, maybe he's not the best example, but and tell him, you're not a person, and give up all of these ideas about yourself, he may not do it. But, Jim Carrey has become rather good friends, I believe, with Eckhart Tolle. And he's really interested in these teachings. Russell Brand, I think, is another gentleman who, again, this whole concept of emptiness and being here now, it seems to really appeal to them. Oprah Winfrey, of course, she's had Byron Katie on her show and Eckhart Tolle on, Adi Ashanti. So, and these are people who are rich, powerful, if you want to say, famous. So they have a really, let's say, great looking person, I'm a person and I have everything. I'm on the top. I'm the king of the mountain. And yet there's something in them, of course, because, of course, they're not the person. The essence of who these people are, Jim Carrey, Oprah, Russell Brand, etc., the essence of who they are is what? Which word should we attach to them? Divine, the soul, consciousness, the truth. So the truth in them, of course, will resonate with the truth that is, no matter how rich or famous they are. So this is why even in the end, the person, no matter how good your person looks or how much pleasure you have in your life, in the end, there's something, that which is true, something knows that this is going to leave. This person, no matter how good it is now, it can't always be at this high state. Decay will happen. Death will happen. Sickness will happen. Loss will happen. Now, I'm not saying we need to look for sorrow or be afraid of sorrow, or it's just a matter of fact kind of a thing, that at some point, the truth inside wants to awaken. It wants to emerge. It wants to come forth. Even again, if that person is a really good-looking person on paper, right? Even if you're happy. I remember a Buddhist master said, compared to your true nature, even happiness is suffering. Compared to your true nature, the vastness of your true nature, the joy, the bliss, Satchitananda, the bliss of the Atman, the Parabrahman, compared to that, even a happy, happy life is suffering because it's still small, limited, contracted, false, obviously, because again, it's going to change. So what? So just to be aware of that. So again, I guess I'm hesitant because if you're happy, great, be happy, be a person. You don't have to do anything. Nothing has to happen. That's the message that I think Nisargadatta is saying. For sure it is. Tony Parsons is saying that already this is oneness. This is the perfect expression of oneness. And oneness doesn't have to do anything because it's already everything. Nothing has to change. Nothing has to be discovered. Nothing has to be realized. Because all there is oneness. There are no problems in oneness. So usually it's either you are suffering and you want a way out of suffering that leads you to a teaching like this, or just a deep curiosity, something that wants to know the truth. So either I'm suffering and I want to get rid of suffering, I want to end suffering, or the truth wants to find out the greater truth, the curiosity. I want to know what is real. Who am I? What is God? What is the ultimate, the absolute? What doesn't change? As long as you are interested in your present way of living, you will not abandon it. So if you find this interesting, if you like the drama, if you like the pain and pleasure and the coming and the going and the dualistic experience, then great, enjoy it. C'est la vie, something. So discovery cannot come as long as you cling to the familiar. If you're happy with status quo, if you're happy with this, like your toys or something, you're probably not going to lift your eyes and see that which is greater or that which is beyond. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That's just the way it is. As they say, an alcoholic usually doesn't wake up or start to change until he has hit rock bottom. So in a sense, if the person is working, some people do the person very well. So if the person's working, you have a really nice life as a person, probably that search for truth isn't going to happen until something happens, suffering, pain, or again, a deep curiosity for the truth. I can now see that the secret of India's eternal life lies in these dimensions of existence, of which India was always the custodian. It is an open secret, and there were always people willing and ready to share it. Teachers, there are many. Fearless disciples, very few. I wonder if this is where Tony Parsons got his title, Open Secret. But here we have Nisargadatta saying it. It is, an open secret. It's open because it's all there is. And it's only a secret as long as there is someone looking for it. So as Papaji said, if you want reality, you have to disappear. The seeker has to disappear. As long as there's a seeker looking for it, it remains unfound. So there were always people willing and ready to share it. Throughout time, there have been beings who awakened beings. Of course, in reality, there are no awakened beings, but this is how we speak about it. But those people who have seen the truth, perceived the truth, and have spoken about it. So if you want a teacher, the teacher will find you, the guru will find you, either externally or internally, or life itself will be your teacher and your guru. Teachers, there are many teachers, especially now, especially on YouTube, many non-duality teachers, many satsangs out there all over the world, which is very exciting. But a fearless disciple, not just a disciple, but a fearless disciple, very few, very few. So, do you have the courage? Do you have the desire? Because if you have the desire to find the truth, to know the truth, to go all the way, then if you have that desire, if it's great enough, then when fear appears, it won't bother you. It won't throw you off your path. And if it does, you'll get back on the path and you'll keep going. So learning words is not enough. You may know the theory, but without the actual experience of yourself as the impersonal and unqualified center of being, love, and bliss, mere verbal knowledge is sterile. So this is not just about acquiring more concepts, more knowledge. It's not just about reading books and having all these words. Oh, I have more words. I used to have 500 words. Now I have 1,000 words. I have more concepts, more understanding. Okay, great. Now take all that understanding and let it sink down into the heart, into the heart, into direct reality. Now verify those words. Look, discover, do the turnaround. Go back now and look at where all of these teachers are pointing. Because without the actual, not the imaginary, but the actual experience of yourself as the impersonal, so not a person, the impersonal and unqualified center of being, love, and bliss, mere verbal knowledge is sterile. Then what am I to do? Try to be. Only to be. Try to be. I am. The all-important word is try. Allot enough time daily for sitting quietly and trying, just trying to go beyond the personality with its addictions and obsessions. Don't ask how. It cannot be explained. Just keep on trying until you succeed. If you persevere, there can be no failure. What matters supremely is sincerity, earnestness. You must really have had surfeit of being the person you are. You've had enough of being the person you are. Now see the urgent need of being free of this unnecessary self-identification with a bundle of memories and habits. This steady resistance against the unnecessary is the secret of success. After all, you are what you are every moment of your life. You are the Absolute Supreme, always. But you were never conscious of it, except maybe at the point of awakening from sleep. All you need is to be aware of being. Aware of being. I am aware. Not as a verbal statement, but as an ever-present fact. You can always check in throughout the day. Am I? Am I? Do I exist? Am I alive? Am I aware? Am I conscious? Yes. Then an awareness that you are will open your eyes to what you are. It is all very simple. Remember, the truth is simple. The mind loves to complicate. So if you see the mind starting to complicate it, say, Namaste. Just be simple. Awareness. It's so simple. That's what bores the mind. It says, this is too easy. There's nothing to do here. Exactly. Nothing to do. So first of all, establish a constant contact with yourself. Yourself being the awareness, the beingness, the consciousness. Be with yourself all the time. Into self-awareness, all blessings flow. All blessings flow. Begin as a center of observation, deliberate cognizance, and grow into a center of love in action. I am is a tiny seed, which will grow into a mighty tree quite naturally without a trace of effort. Without a trace of effort. I think I'm going to stop there. I am aware. The brain creates a false sense of self. I am not that self. I am not a thought, an image, a vision, I am nothing perceivable or conceivable, but life, awareness. And just be with that realization, be with that knowingness. I am here and now, always and everywhere. And I cannot not be. I cannot escape from being, for being is what I am. Affectionate awareness. Love everything. Send love to every aspect of yourself, to everything in the now. Whatever appears in the now, just love it and allow it. It will come and go, and you will remain. I am. I am here now, always, everywhere. Pure awareness, perceiving, awareing, neither subject nor object, but the perceiving, the awareing itself. This is the beingness, the life, beyond the life. Nothing physical, no form, formless, nameless, qualityless, empty, empty, no self, no person, no ego. Remember, ego is just a verb. If you feel ego happening, it's okay. It's just the brain creating a sense of self. It's trying to protect itself. And the essence of that then is love. So the ego is actually love. Doesn't always act that way, but if you look at it, it's just trying to protect itself. So have mercy on yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Hold yourself as if you were your only child. Love and compassion and forgiveness. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be anything. Just allow. Life is living you. Man is not the doer. Life is living life. One life. Remember, we can't, as the man said, cut out our fears or cut something out of this life. It's all one. There is variety and difference, but no separation anywhere. Everything is interconnected with everything else. Everything is affecting everything else. When one thing happens, it affects and ripples out to everything else in the universe. So, if you want to change the world, change yourself. Purify yourself. Realize your true essence, your true self. Go beyond the need of help. Go beyond the mind, beyond the body. Surrender to God, surrender to the divine, and allow love and service just to happen or not happen. No fear here, no trying, no guilt, no compulsion, no obligation. This is already the perfect expression of oneness. I am that I am. Selfless awareness, selfless being, empty, empty. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate bodhiswaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate bodhiswaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate bodhiswaha. Om Shanti. shanti, shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste. The light in me recognizes the light in you. The awareness here acknowledges and recognizes the awareness there. The consciousness and the beingness here recognizes the consciousness there. So when the two meet, it's like a triangle. God is always at the top. Whenever you meet another human being, God is at the top. Truth is at the top. Love is at the top. So we can always surrender to that truth, surrender to that dynamic. And every moment, it's fresh and new, fresh and new, fresh and new. Hello. Just be. We're so addicted to doing. We're so used to doing something. I must do something. Have mercy on yourself. Anytime you feel that fear, I must do something, I must do something, just send it love. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to be, nothing to figure out, nothing to understand. I will say this, that there appears to be a doing from the mind, like I'm bored or I'm restless or I want to do something, desires and fears. And then there is a sense of doing, feeling compelled and moved by life itself, but it's felt more in the heart. It's something deeper. And this is how life moves us. If there is a choice, it's a choice. Do I listen to the mind? Do I listen to desires and fears? Am I led by desires and fears? Or am I led and guided by something deeper in my heart, in my essence? Or some people may experience it like this: God, what should I do? And they feel a divine inspiration. However you experience it, it doesn't matter. It's just to be aware, just to have discernment about where is the voice coming from? Is the voice of ego, the voice of desire, fear, the voice of the person, or is it the voice of something deeper? The beloved, love, wisdom, truth, consciousness, God. And I would say that 9 out of 10 times, you're going to do whatever it is that comes in your heart, because it just does you, right? There is no you. There's only life living life. And when you feel these things, it's like, it shows again that there's really little or no free will, because when it's so strong in your heart, you really can't deny it. If you say no to that calling in the heart, you really suffer, you know? I've seen it really kind of drive people nuts, you know, because it's just God calling to them. And they, for whatever reason, don't want to listen to it. But it drives them nuts. So this is again why we suffer, because we don't listen to the heart. I just remembered, I think in the Bible it says you can deny Jesus, but you cannot deny the Holy Spirit. You can deny the Son of God, but not the Holy Spirit. So again, it's not about the messenger. It's not about a person. It's about your essence. It's really about you. It's really about you. It's your heart, your soul, your spirit, because your spirit is connected to God. And this is how we experience and find, let's say, our destiny, our karma, our dharma, what it is that needs to be done in this lifetime. And some days you may feel like you check into the heart and it's saying basically nothing to do today. Do what you want. Go to the beach, go to the mall, sit here, do whatever you want. And some days you feel like, I've got to do this. I feel compelled. I feel inspired. So all I would say is listen to your heart. Follow your heart. Follow the wisdom of the heart. It's loving. It wants to help you. It wants to get you to that next place. This is at the relative level. In the absolute level, there's nowhere to go, right? It's just here and now. And we are always here and now. Even if the body moves, the awareness is always here and now. Okay. Thank you, Nisargadatta Maharaj. Thank you, Cosmic Force. Thank you, Parabrahman. Thank you, God. May you be free of suffering. May you be at peace. May you feel love and light in your heart. Just be, just be, just be what you cannot not be. See you again for another chapter of I Am That. Namaste.